Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of The Rhino and The Dude.
I'm the Rhino.
I'm The Dude, and we're joined by
Shekinah Hollingsworth.
running for House of Delegates 34A in
Right.
Maryland. But we got a rhino with us.
Yeah, but also,
You don't even know what a rhino is, do you?
I was going to say I don't know what a House of Delegates 34A is.
But you don't know what a rhino is. And she doesn't like rhinos.
Oh, I'm the Rhino Hunter.
She's the rhino hunter.
I should have picked a different name, honestly.
Yeah.
We got to read in the whole thing.
You probably heard that, and you're like, the Rhino? What? What am I being? We're on the Rhino podcast. He's also a a log cabin Republican too.
Ooh.
No, he's definitely not. No. So how's it going? To explain who you are, what you're running as, and
yeah. And he hasn't told me anything. So
I never tell him anything.
He does. I come here blind every time.
Sure. So what I introduce myself as when I go to all of these events, I am an America First conservative Republican candidate running for House of Delegates. Now, House of Delegates is a state seat. I like to explain it like it's kind of like Congress on the state level. Okay. So if I win, then that means I get to represent the Route 40 corridor of Harford County in Annapolis.
You need this guy's vote right here. He's in your district. I think.
I am.
Where are you at?
I am. I'm in Edgewood.
Edgewood, let's go. Edgewood is in my district.
Okay.
Yeah, so what America First means, it's literally just putting Americans first. It is that simple. Okay. And you would think that with that kind of message, that would resonate to a lot of people, and a lot of people would be on board and supportive. It has been a pretty crazy ride because I've been associated with the America First movement right there.
Oh, the AF flag.
The AF flag. Yeah, the AF flag. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I'm not a native Marylander. I moved from New York City when I was like 7 years old, but I've been in Havre de Grace ever since.
What part of Havre de Grace?
Right on Revolution Street, right by Pat's Pizzeria.
Okay. I used to live do you know where the Bayou building is?
Yes.
I used to, when we first moved to Maryland, we lived there for like 2 years.
Oh, nice.
My family and I.
It sucks because Bayou just closed because of COVID and everything. So
the restaurant is.
The restaurant's closed.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about the actual building downtown.
Oh,
The big stone building right on the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's one. Sorry. I get the two
Yeah,
confused.
the bougie building.
My dad told us he met a guy at a bar when he was looking for a house to like rent for a while when we moved down. And the guy was like, well, I'm trying to rent out my house. My dad was like, okay. And like we ended up living there for a couple of years.
Sweet.
I mean, that must have been pretty cool. Yeah.
It was nice because also when I first moved to Maryland, I really got into running.
Yeah.
And so like I got to run right in the promenade. Every time I ran, I'd finish my run across the promenade. It was a great way to
when I was a young lad, that was like my go-to like date. Like I'd be like, I'm going to the promenade. I don't know anything else, but it's by the water and there's like birds. And there's nowhere I was broke, so there's nowhere close that I could like my lack of money could be exposed. It's like as long as you don't buy too many like cheeseburgers or something like that, I'm good.
Also, the promenade just sounds way classier than like let's go to Denny's.
Yeah.
Right.
Girl, let's go.
So true.
Let's go to Denny's.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know you were going to be here, so like my shirt is not on purpose, but it fits the vibe.
It's definitely
so well. Like
on purpose.
I wish it was. I 100% wish it was, but it wasn't.
It's the Charlie Kelly.
That's my vibe with this.
What was the episode?
Rock Flag Eagle. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's when Charlie has like the denim suit on, the American flag bandana, and he has like that song. He's like Rock Flag and Eagle, like yelling about it. He's gonna go America on everybody.
I think it's the gang goes America on. Yep,
Love
something like that.
On everyone's rears.
Yeah, yes. Since we're keeping it PG today, Eric.
trying to keep it classy.
Yeah.
The Promenade Grill. That's where we go, baby.
Promenade Grill, keeping the promenade.
So, explain America First to Erik, because I know everything, but Erik is just a unschooled
I'm an
eagle
He's
flagging
the rhino,
person.
right?
He is a rhino, so he's trying to be convinced out of his rhino ways.
Okay.
I just like to like hang out in deserts and mind my own business.
He bows to a flag of Larry Hogan every day.
Oh no.
He's like, oh, the ultimate rhino. Oh,
Rhino King.
the Rhino King.
Well, I
like
guess to explain what America First is, I think I should explain first what a rhino is.
Okay.
So rhino is a common acronym that is used. It means Republican in name only. So these are the Mitt Romneys, the Liz Cheneys, the people who want to run on a Republican ticket but really represent none of the conservative values that come with running as a Republican.
Well, I did not know that, so sorry. I just picked an animal I like.
Yeah.
And Eddie called me it for years, so.
Yeah, he's called the Rhino just because he's like big and like just plows through stuff like
Makes sense.
We train Brazilian jiu-jitsu and also like he like just will run through you, so that's kind of how he got his name.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I didn't. No political calls on this. Sorry, people.
Yeah,
If that's why you're listening,
they're gonna
I
like
apologize.
yeah, it's gonna hate like I'm gonna
The views just go by.
no or what's gonna happen is when I run for office, they're gonna be like, he's associated with rhinos, isn't he?
Right, they're
He's
gonna pull
got
up
that
this
podcast.
podcast.
Like he's best friends with a rhino.
The poster's gonna be just like a picture of me, just in this shirt, sitting here just like this, and with just like a circle across.
The
the
self-proclaimed rhino. Most rhinos try to run from the label. He
Like, run
he
straight
owns
toward
it.
it.
I just pushed for it, baby. Just went all in.
So some pretty popular people.
I do. I run in some pretty popular circles.
Ooh.
Yeah, so America First, conversely, is the opposite of a rhino. So we are conservatives. We're Republicans that adhere to conservative values. We're
Okay.
pro-traditional family, limited government, all of that kind of principled, moral kind of things. So one of the biggest proponents of the America First movement is a young man by the name of Nicholas J. Fuentes. So he got the inspiration to start America First. He has a show on cozy.tv. He has America First with Nicholas J. Fuentes. And he got the idea to start this movement from the Trump presidency, specifically 2016 Trump.
Okay.
Which I think is a different Trump than we have now. I think Trump now is starting to get back to his 2016 roots. But that initial wave of American nationalism and exceptionalism and, we're going to make America great again, all of that, that's what sparked the America First movement.
Okay. Well, this guy here you're talking about has the raddest name I've ever heard. Like, what is it again?
Nicholas J. Fuentes.
Dude, rad. Like, I'm sorry. When she said that, that's the first thing that came to my mind was like, he should be on a beach somewhere skateboarding.
He's a cool guy. We're pretty friendly, and but he is not liked by rhinos, just like I am not well liked by rhinos.
Well, I like his name.
So yeah,
So he's cool by me.
He's got a rad name.
This rhino's in his corner.
Dude, he's a rad guy.
he is a rad. He's a very rad guy. He's a great guy. And he really is just motivated by wanting to make the country great and wanting to bring the country back to a place of Americans, pursuing prosperity and being successful and having this just be a great, Christian nation too. Christianity is at the root of this movement. And I think that in addition to the stuff that's going on legislatively, I think the country is facing like a spiritual crisis too with all this stuff that's going on, especially with the Roe v. Wade ruling, and you see people really, showing their true colors during all of this.
It's very crazy when you see like how some people are what they're saying, just out crazy stuff. I don't even want to say some of the stuff that you see people saying and talking, and it's like really I thought this was about I thought that you thought this is about choice and being liberal and everything, but it's like it's like as soon as the mask is kind of ripped off and they're like, we want to eat babies. They didn't actually say that, but they're like, give us the baby's blood.
Some of them are actually saying that, though. It's pretty nuts. Some of them are pretty bold to
Well,
be
yeah,
actually
they're
saying
trying to, yeah, they want to like protest the pro life movement, and they say stuff like that. So, yeah.
I just was not ready for the words "we want to eat babies" to come out of his mouth.
Yeah, that's
not
literally
ready for
the Democratic platform right now. We want to eat babies and raise the gas prices.
Vote for franchise. What's his name?
Peter Francho.
Vote for
No, what was
Peter Franch.
Peter J. Fuentes? What was it?
Nick Fuentes.
Nicholas J.
Nicholas J.
Fuentes.
So who's your? Do you have a opponent in the primary?
So I have 3.
Okay.
But we're in a multi-member district, so 2 of us get to go to the general.
Okay.
So I'm running against Glenn Glass, Teresa Walter, and Dave Martin.
Okay.
I'll say in the name competition, you're winning.
Yeah, I'm second on the ballot, so let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are all individuals who have been involved in Maryland politics in some form or another. Teresa is the active chief of police of Havre Grace.
Okay.
Dave Martin used to be on the city council, and Glenn Glass used to be a House member, and he got voted out in 2018. So I'm the only person that's not affiliated with anything.
Gotcha. And are they more like Rhino-ish, would you say? Okay. Everybody's more
it
Rhino.
would be safe to assume that.
Yeah.
Again, sorry.
You know.
I mean, I saw Erik the other day at the bar, and what's that one over there? Grumpy's in Aberdeen.
I forgot about Grumpy's in
He was Grumpy's in Aberdeen with all of them, and just like a big old
Is that where
Rhino
they hang
thing.
out?
I heard they broke the pool sticks and everything.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Hey,
Rhino
hey. Grumpy's is a
behavior.
great establishment. We do not
Have you ever been
mess
to
with the
Grumpy's?
Grumpy's.
I've not been to Grumpy's.
Have you seen it?
I've not seen it.
It's where.
So Grumpy's, do you know where Ollie's is in Aberdeen?
Yes.
So that little motel right next to it with the bar inside.
Really?
That bar is Grumpy's. Right off 95.
Didn't we walk into it one day? We're like, this is weird. Let's
Yes.
walk into this right now.
You were like, we were looking for somewhere to eat and everywhere was closed. And you're like, what about Grumpy's? And we
We're like, what is Grumpy's?
so we're like,
Right.
the open side was there. So we're like, okay, let's go see what it is. They're like, we don't serve food after 7 or something.
They were like, we don't know you. We
Yeah.
don't serve food
There was
to
like
people we don't
6
know.
people in there playing pool, and like one bartender just kind of like sitting there, just like, no. We just
Yeah.
left.
It's definitely an interesting little place that you wouldn't know was there. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah,
hidden.
I don't really hang out in Aberdeen bars too much, but
Well,
yeah,
you should come to Grumpy's. No.
might pay Grumpy's a visit.
Yeah.
Victory party at Grumpy's.
See?
Let's go.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I've been campaigning now for a little bit over a year, and I think what separates me from the rest of the Rhino crowd is that I've been fighting on a lot of these issues that my opponents just refuse to talk about and refuse to integrate into their platform. So the COVID stuff, when that all was still fresh and going on, and the kids were going to school en masse, I was going to Board of Ed meetings and county council meetings and protests at the Board of Ed in Baltimore.
Okay.
Trying to get these masks off of the kids. And that finally happened in March, but there was a whole bunch of other stipulations with the vaccine that...
And I think in
kids-
PG County they still wear masks too, right?
they still wear masks.
It's
and
crazy.
The idea of vaccine passports, that's still being floated around in places
Yeah.
like PG County and pretty much all the counties that surround Washington, D.C. So that should tell you everything you need to know right there. But, and even in Annapolis, they tried to float a bill about vaccine passports. They tried to pass a lot of crazy stuff this year. in
SB
Annapolis.
669. This was a crazy one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that was
You
at
don't
the 28-day...
28 days.
Yeah, that was a
Are you
28-day...
talking about the rapper? Oh, there was 6ix9ine.
I mean, he'd be a real killer if that was the case.
Yeah, so
No,
for people who might not know what that is, they tried to pass pretty much an infanticide bill in Annapolis saying that if you went to go get an abortion, the abortion was botched, and you like gave birth to the baby, for 28 days after that baby is outside the womb born, alive, living, that baby's still eligible for an abortion. And they extended the practice to people who aren't even licensed physicians to perform these murders is what they are. Murders.
Yeah.
And thank God that didn't pass. But just the fact that a bill like that went through committee and was on the floor and was being debated on the floor, it's something that should have never happened in the state. And the reason why things like that happen is because we do live under a Democratic supermajority, but you also have these very weak Republicans who have been in these seats for years.
Can we say names?
And, yeah, sure, we can say
Starts
names.
with an M.
Oh, Metzgar? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, we're name dropping.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know who that is?
Yeah, so...
I'm totally outing myself. People thought I was like...
Dude,
kind of political.
No, but
I'm outing myself as someone who knows nothing about nothing.
you're
Gonna run for office now.
You're about to get schooled and run for office.
I'll be like, yeah, we're gonna do stuff. They're like, what? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, Ric Metzgar, he's a guy that I met very early on in my political career, and he's a pastor and loves to...
Is he actual pastor? I know he went to seminary and everything, but
I think so.
I'm
not 100% sure.
He's been to my church before, and I'm like, I want to be like, get out of here. Like,
Right.
So we could say he may be a pastor.
Maybe.
May not. Who knows?
Perhaps.
We're hoping he's a
he
pastor.
graduated. You're
Pastor
hoping.
school. Yeah,
Man,
graduated.
if you're gonna
pastor
push the idea of like that you're a pastor, at least like let's hope you really are one.
Yeah. So, he has this whole shtick of, I'm a conservative Republican, I'm pro-life, I love babies. And then he gets to Annapolis and he votes for state-funded abortions every single year. And it's ridiculous. There's him, there's Johnny Ray Salling, who are all part of the same kind of, Rhino club. They'll say whatever they want to get elected. They get in there and they don't follow through on any of the conservative values that they were talking about the entire time. And it's a culmination of all of those things that inspired me to run. Mm-hmm. Because it's like the Maryland GOP has taken for granted Republican voters for so many years because they know that we care about our state and that we care about the country and that we know what we're talking about and that we always show up to vote. And we can't keep rewarding these people who take our votes for granted. Mm-hmm. And, it's America first or it's nothing at this point. Mm-hmm. When you have a governor candidate who is allegedly a front runner, Kelly Schultz, who says things like, I'm not...
Sorry.
Eric's like, this is how Eric like
voting by names.
We talked about politics in the last one, and my friend Steve, who's like, he's not involved, but he's decently involved. He was like, how do you choose what do you just like somebody's name sounds good, so you just go off of that? but
I told you
Schultz does not have the Rhinos vote. Rhinos are not together here.
Schultz,
Right.
I'm not really about the Schultz.
No, and you shouldn't be for a number of reasons. But she, after this Roe versus Wade ruling came down, she was like, oh, well, abortion is settled law in Maryland. I'm not going to change anything if I were to be elected governor. And I was like, wow, you're running as a Republican, and I think being pro-life is one of the most basic Republican platforms that you could have. Mm-hmm. And if you're not going to defend that, what else are you going to cave on if you were elected to be the governor of this state? Yeah. What else are you going to compromise on? And people are done with compromises. I'm not compromising on killing babies. I'm not compromising on, these gas prices and the CRT and the LGBTQ indoctrination and everything. I'm not working together with people who support that. Absolutely not. And I think that's like the bare minimum that you would ask of a Republican candidate. And not only is she a Rhino, but she also is not even really campaigning. She shows up at 0 debates.
I just saw the straw poll came out, and they're saying that Cox is in the lead, right?
Absolutely.
And everybody's been telling me that Dan Cox is, he's not going to win. He's not going to win. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would.
He's got a lot of signs.
Suffice it to say,
he's got a lot of signs.
I've seen them everywhere.
Yeah.
Eric's like, Cox.
I just see him like they're all over the place in Harford County.
Yeah.
Like especially like when you.
He's gonna win Harford County
main roads
for
and, like,
sure.
when he hit,
that was a given.
Back roads.
Yeah.
But Oh yeah.
He's hit
Most
like back roads and
You know
like,
us back road
yeah,
type.
like, you know me. I try to avoid 95 a lot of the time. So like I'll cut a back road and I'll just see a Cox sign right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Dan Cox is a real human being. I use this line a lot during camping. You know, we're real human beings. And
Yeah.
people are like, what do you mean by that? I remember I said that once when I got in a bit of hot water some months ago. And we can get into that. But I use this line, you know, we're real human beings. What does that mean? And that means that we are going to tell...
Eric, did you just burp?
yeah, I hit it in my head. Don't call me out, dude. Come on.
You just burped. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I was trying not to interrupt Shekinah. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes,
Come
let's
on,
go.
come on. Oh, shit.
There you go.
You're making this so difficult.
Me? I'm sitting in my corner being confused. That's what I do.
But what I mean by like being a real human being is that we're going to speak truth to the things that we know to be true, and we're going to be completely unapologetic about that all the way through. And I don't think that people are used to that. You know, we see things are happening in our state, that are happening in the country, and all these like heads in power are trying to convince you that what you're seeing in front of your eyes isn't happening, or it's not that bad, or you're overreacting. They're trying to, you know, we're in this national gaslight epidemic is what we're in. And we understand the problems that are going on here. And to people who say that Dan Cox is some kind of far right, you know,
That's what Larry Hogan says, right?
Conspiracy theory, right? Larry Hogan, who
He's a bobogan.
I was going to say Larry
But he's better than Anthony Brown because
Oh
he's a
my
clown.
That kills me so much. Oh my! Well, Kelly Schultz will be better than Peter. They're the same person.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and really, that's what I'm trying to get across with my campaign is that these Rhino alternatives. It's not even a real alternative. It's not enough anymore for you to have an R next to your name in order for me to vote for you. You have to earn that.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I see these candidates who say these things that, like, they're not going to defend the pro-life movement and they're not going to change any, you know, abortion laws in Maryland, and that, you know, this section of Maryland is just a bunch of QAnon, white supremacist, Trump supporter, that turns me all the way off.
Well, are you the blackface of white supremacy then?
I have been called that. I have been
You don't
called
get the reference.
No, I don't, but that's
Larry
a crazy
Elder was
statement.
called the blackface of white supremacy.
Yeah.
They
That's
called you that though.
Crazy statement.
Yeah, well, there is this little publication called the Duck Pin. I don't know if you
Yeah,
are.
I've seen.
familiar.
Yeah, he doesn't seen anything, but I follow things.
I watch cartoons. I don't know what to tell you.
Because like I'm waiting for the
Honestly,
time where we talk about Doug. You know,
I love Doug.
Honestly, keep
I was
watching
Quail Man
cartoons.
senior year in high school. I was Quail Man for Halloween. I yelled at like 6 people because they called me Captain Underpants. I was not happy. But back to you. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, Brian Griffiths, he has this little publication called the Duck Pen. And so I guess I should preface this with the incident that got me involved in a lot of hot water. So a few months ago, I was having a back and forth with the president of Log Cabin Republicans, which if you are
He's a member.
unfamiliar-
I don't even know. What
you
that
remember, right?
means. I don't live in a log cabin. I live in a row. In a house.
For anybody who's unfamiliar with Log Cabin Republicans, this is the LGBTQ wing of the Republican Party.
Right.
Now,
Oh, that was good actually. That was creative. I'll give you a point for that one. That was good. Okay.
It was his idea to have the wood in homage to the log cabin.
Like I said
Republicans.
Like I said earlier, I come in here. I don't know what's going on. I just sit down and start talking.
Yep.
Eddie just controls everything else.
I don't control everything else, but
Dude, you told me what to eat for lunch today. And I did have my sandwich.
because
sir.
the
It's okay.
last
I'm sorry.
time you ate and it didn't smell good, so I was like, make sure you stay away from the cheese.
so for anybody who is unfamiliar with what the Log Cabin Republicans, they literally are gay Republicans, which should cause a weird like juxtaposition within people, because if I just stated earlier that, you know, conservatives are for the traditional family, what does the LGBTQ anything have anything to do with preserving that? Mm-hmm. And starts to probe more questions as to what is the Republican Party conserving anymore? What are conservatives conserving really? And so I got in a back and forth with Heath Barnes about the
Not a fan of his name.
Yeah.
If you say a name he likes, he's gonna totally go against you.
You're not gonna be a
I'll
fan
argue.
of his.
I will fight to the death for what was his name? Nicholas J.
Fuentes.
I'll fight. to
But
the
I
death for
hope that
man,
none of
just
these
'cause
log cabin guys have a name that you like, because you might be in trouble.
I'm saying me and
You might
Nicholas
have a
J.
rhino
Fuentes
coming
can
at you.
go skateboarding on the beach in Venice, like
Let's go.
do some kick flips and stuff, man.
Let's go. So we get in a back and forth about Russia and Ukraine, which back then it was such a hot, issue because the issue was fresh, and I was the only one being like, well, I don't think we should get involved. I don't know. That sounds like it has nothing to do with us. Why is the House having a vote on getting involved in Russia, Ukraine? This is the state of Maryland. We're not a globo, hegemonic power or anything. This is Maryland.
Send the National Guard to Maryland.
And when you
That'll teach Putin.
right, and when you see Annapolis draped in Ukrainian flags, it caused me to think, when's the last time you've seen Annapolis draped in American flags?
I was wondering. I mean,
Annapolis and
yeah, that's true. But I was wondering, what is the point of the whole Ukrainian flag thing? Like, the only thing I can think of, like, okay, if my family's from Ukraine, like, all right, like, if Eric's family's from Ukraine, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm with, I want to let you know that I'm here, praying for your family or whatever, and I have the flag. Okay, yeah. But besides that, I feel like it's a virtue signal.
Yeah, it's absolutely a virtue
But
signal.
I mean, I can understand it to the extent of, like, okay, yeah, like, I'm trying to show support, but I don't know how many Ukrainians I even know.
Exactly, and I mean the whole thing.
think
It's just
anyone-
it's a virtue signal.
What do you think about it, Eric?
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on here. I'm confused.
No, what
just
do
sitting
you
in my
think about
corner.
the Ukrainian signs? Or you're just like, this is like they got these new like blue and yellow art lawn things. I think I might get one.
Dude, when do you think the last time I was in Annapolis was?
You don't see Ukrainian flags everywhere?
No.
No?
Oh,
I go.
thank God.
I drive like 6 places, dude. I don't go many places.
Thank
They're
goodness.
everywhere.
I literally am. Maybe I'm just not paying enough attention. But
You don't know what a
I don't
Ukrainian flag is.
It's blue and yellow,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I've seen a Ukrainian flag before,
Okay.
but like I've not
never
like,
seen, like,
I'm
the
not like
flags
driving down the
and
road and being
people
like, "Whoa, what kind of flag is that?" Like, no, I'm just driving.
I mean, it's just
Maybe I'm just not.
they're everywhere. Like they're
I'm
hanging
probably
on
just
people's
not paying enough
mailboxes.
attention.
Yeah.
It's me. Think what I do in my day. I'm like, I go 6 places, and I drive straight there, listen to music, and then drive straight home and go to sleep. I don't do much. I don't go many places. My life is very sad. Okay.
I don't know. It sounds like a pretty good. Like I wish.
But he does
I
have a
could-
Ukrainian blanket that he wraps himself in every night.
I become a Ukrainian burrito.
Yeah, so me and Heath getting this back and forth about Russia and Ukraine. He calls me a bigot, and then whatever page that we were commenting back and forth on blocked me.
Oh,
And
this
then-
is online?
This is online.
Oh, I thought this was like
this is all
meaty.
online beef.
Eric's like, this is an awful lot of confrontation.
Dude, I was
for
like,
me.
Yeah.
wow, this is awesome. I was like, wait, can I?
She's like, can I get in the
Does this have a
politics now?
Netflix series? What are they? Just the Netflix series. Politics. People arguing.
Right, they would
I would
have so much
devour that.
content from this campaign. And so, Heath screenshots all my comments posted on his page and is like, Harford County needs to watch out because this chick is crazy. But people in his comment section were agreeing with me about the whole
Yeah.
Russia-Ukraine stuff. Then he got mad and deleted the whole post. And then I made a status about it, and then somebody commented, they were like, yeah, Heath Barnes is a degenerate, whatever. And I responded, I was like, yeah, he's a professional fudge packer.
Oh my
Hilarious.
gosh.
Very fun. Yeah, it was,
I don't know how political that was of you.
Right.
But
I know. It got me in a little bit of trouble. All these people started, saying, "Oh, it's a homophobic
I was not preparing for that.
slur. That's a homophobic slur. You're homophobic." Yada yada yada. Then I ended up making an Instagram live addressing the whole thing, and Brian saw that Instagram live. And he called me a Nazi and a homophobe and a racist and all this stuff. And it ended up blowing up. It was all over Twitter. Kathy Griffin shared it and was like, "What is going on in this country?"
Related to Peter Griffin.
That's what the redhead chick from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the daughter with the pink hat?
That's Meg.
Oh, okay.
But she changed her name to
Shut up,
Kathy.
Meg.
She changed. Yeah, shut up, Meg.
Right.
She changed her name to Kathy because her father made her
'cause shut up,
mad,
Meg.
daddy issues.
Also,
so she
her
changed her name.
full
to,
name wasn't Megan. It was Megatron, just so you guys know. Like,
Megatron.
there's a whole cutscene in Family Guy where they're like, hey,
yeah.
Megan. And she goes, that's not my full name. They're like, what's your full name? And it shows Peter Rudd taking the name Megan and racing it and writing a Tron. So her full name is Megatron.
Yeah, so the fallout from all of that was Heath had gotten in touch with my payment processor that processes all of my campaign donations.
Mm-hmm.
So that whole drama happened, and like the day after, I get an email from Anadot saying, "Oh, we're shutting down your account at 5:00 today. You violated our terms of service." And I was like,
Why?
What terms of service? This is a crowdfunding website. What are you talking about? And so I tried calling customer service, no answer. I tried emailing a bunch of people, no answer. So they ended up shutting down my account. So I had to find a different way to, access donations and everything. So, and I ended up figuring it out. But so that happened back in like March. And that is also the same time when all of this like LGBTQ indoctrination stuff started popping up all over Harford County. Videos from like Folsom High School
with a
and
flag
everything.
waving. Did you see that?
Yeah.
There's some like teacher like waving like a pride flag
Right.
down like on the students, and it's like, why?
Right.
Like and
I
I
understand.
mean, I guess on your statement of the log cabin Republicans and everything, like does it matter what somebody does in their bedroom? Not not so much. I mean, yeah, they're not like I guess they're not necessarily supporting the nuclear family, but I can still see how they would have common values. And there's gay pro-lifers, there's gay people that value not taxation, there's gay libertarian
There's
type
gay
people.
Republican, sure.
Yeah.
But can you call yourself a conservative is a bit of a juxtaposition. Because when you see all of this LGBTQ stuff coming out of the woodwork, where are log cabin Republicans?
There's a lot of gay people that don't support that, though. Not,
Right.
like there's some people that are like that stuff's crazy, and like they're not for like indoctrinating kids.
Yeah,
and all,
of course. But as an organization who's positioned themselves to try and change things in politics.
Oh, you're saying the log cabin
Right,
Republicans
I'm saying
position
log
themselves.
cabins specifically. You're positioning yourself as a political organization.
They're pro all the crazy stuff.
I have not seen anything that has been counter to that, and it's
Gotcha.
been however many months and days that all of this stuff is happening, and nobody has said nobody's made a statement. And it's like, okay, if you belong to this community, wouldn't you want to show things that say, hey, we're not like that. Our position on this is this.
Yeah.
They haven't done that.
Okay, gotcha.
And it makes you think, what are these people's motivations? Why are they trying to align themselves with the Republican Party? Heath Barnes himself, he's a former Democrat, which is something that we're seeing a lot. A lot of these former Democrats are trying to become Republicans and completely change the foundation of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Things that we did not
Reminds me
stand
of like
for just
the
a few
Lincoln
years ago.
Project.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So my campaign has exposed a lot of that, and it's gotten a lot of people thinking for themselves instead of just what the party is pushing out there. Because if you just went by what the party puts out there, Kelly Schultz is endorsed by log cabin Republicans.
Yeah.
And, it's like, where are these people's priorities at? And I should be able to ask you these questions without being called homophobic.
Yeah.
So...
Well, when you said the fudge packer
Yeah,
thing, I feel like
that jumped the line.
Right, that jumped the line a little bit.
but it's
stick
okay.
your-
I did.
In the pool, you didn't stick your toe in the pool. You just dove straight in.
Yeah.
You dove
But
into the
it's
shallow
okay.
end head first.
It's okay. Everybody said
Yeah,
thanks.
exactly. We can all say things, we get in a little bit of online spats.
I remember, speaking of the LGBTQAI plus divided by sign
We
equals.
LGBTQ plus community.
Oh, thank you,
gotcha.
Eric. I thought it's AI.
No, that's artificial intelligence.
No, I
Those are
thought there's
computers.
AI with it now.
Is there an AI with it now?
Yeah.
Honestly, if we're wrong, I'm wrong. I thought it was just LGBT.
Because you're homophobic.
Plus.
That was so calm. It's so quick.
So I remember you telling me the story about how when you were in college and you had to have they had to come in the classroom and talk.
Oh, yeah, we had.
And you I remember you said that you raised your hand. You're like, what is Q?
I did. Okay, so we had I think it was an ethics class, and during this class, you had to take it to graduate. It was just a requirement. And I'm sitting there in the class, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have the LGBTQ Towson community club come in." I think it was a club.
Is it a club?
I don't know what they called it. But the LGBT representatives from campus were coming, and they said Q. And at the time, I didn't understand what Q was.
That's the thing was 5 years ago, we didn't know what Q was.
But I just sat there in the back classroom. I was sitting there quiet, let them speak. And I was like, what's the Q? And the woman looked so mad at me for a moment. And then she was like,
how dare you question us? We're here to lecture you.
Hold on. Nobody jokes about this. But she did a quick turn, came back, and then was like, oh, it's for queer. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, sorry, I just did not know. And I went on with my life. But everyone in the classroom looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, my bad. Right. I was confused.
And I mean, these people, they make up new terms whenever they feel like it. So it's not indicative upon us, the rest of society that has been functioning a certain way for so long, and you want to come along and completely usurp that. And we have to have people who are in our government in line who is like, no, this is going to stop here. This is not... One
great political question of the decade.
We have 5 minutes.
I know. I'm bringing my last point because it's my big... This has been the podcast where Eric's just been confused 98% of the time.
Okay.
I need to know. Can Kanye become president?
Absolutely. I love...
But wait. Could Skeet become president? No,
not Skeet. We don't rock with Skeet. We don't rock with Skeet Davidson. Absolutely not.
Oh. You know that's my political question now for everyone. Whoever mentions politics.
He's mentioned this every time now. Every time.
Because that episode of It's Always Sunny is the funniest episode of all time. Have you seen the episode?
I don't think I've seen that episode.
Oh, there's an episode where they talk about all this political stuff that's been going on and how they're part of it. And then at the end, they're like, the guy's like, well, you're just mad because Trump didn't win. They're like, Trump? We were voting for Kanye. And it shows Dee and Charlie sitting in the crowd Trump
starts playing
Kanye
Gold
didn't
Digger.
Win? Yeah, and then Gold Digger plays in the outro. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can try and float the...
So in
Trump
closing, tell them why they need to vote for you on July 19th. That's when your primary is.
That's right. Early voting is July 7th through the 14th.
Isn't that... We live in the same... Your primary is different than mine?
Don't tell them where I live.
You just told everyone where I live.
Well, you don't matter.
That's true. Honestly, fair.
No, there's different districts. I'm not in the same district.
Okay. See?
Right.
So
I wouldn't know that.
Why should they vote for you?
Well,
in closing.
In closing, I think you should vote for me because there's nobody who is currently running in my race that is going to be able to do that job like I know I can do that job. The issue here has been, complacent Republicans not fighting back hard enough on issues that matter and that are important. And I've had a long history of fighting for those issues and being effective in those issues. I'm just, I'm a firebrand, so I will absolutely be making a lot of noise if I were to get elected because I want to get things done for my district.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. You got Eric's vote?
Awesome.
Huh?
No, that Nicholas J. Fuentes guy's got my vote. Me and him are going to go down. I told you, skateboarded.
He's not running. You got Eric's vote?
That's because he's skateboarding.
Eric, are you voting?
Oh, I'm voting for Shekinah.
Are you even registered to vote?
I don't think so.
Oh, boy.
I have to check.
All right. Well, that's it. She's going to pull out a voter registration and get them registered because that's what politicians do. And this has been the Rhino and the Dude, and we are out.